Propagating. Hello, everyone. How are you? If you're here, we are. We're live.
Hello, hello.
Welcome, welcome. We'll wait a second for everybody to kind of jump on board here
Cool.
and check us out in this live stream of the Analog Lab for software, and we'll be giving it away for free for a short time. I'll put the link in the chat for everybody, and yeah. Hopefully everybody tunes in. We got 3 people in the room now, and it's growing fast. Anyways, my name is Ian Martinez. I'm with Arturia US. I assist doing the marketing for us here. And here we have John Masinski, awesome producer engineer who I met, and he's yeah. Tell us about yourself, John. What have you been up to?
Yeah, you described me pretty accurately. I'm a musician
Okay.
and audio engineer in the Chicagoland area. Work with a variety of artists, kind of ranging in the genres of sort of indie rock and hip hop, kind of that sort of realm of genres a lot.
Nice.
And a couple artists in the Chicago area. I worked on an artist named Andy, who I showed her mix at one of our streams previously. And been working for a while throughout the city. Interned at my background is I used to intern at some larger studios like CRC, known for like Chance the Rapper, and a couple other really cool spots where I got to shadow some engineers that I respect a lot, and learned a lot of my tools that I use now. And so now I record out of a studio called Olmsted Studios in Humboldt Park, which is in Chicago.
Cool. Cool. Chicago. Very cool. Very cool.
Chicago, yeah.
I'm in Los Angeles, so it's really cool to have you and have everybody in here from the area of Chicago. Appreciate you guys, and let's start getting into it. I guess we have the KeyLab Mark II 61 here at your disposal. um, this is an awesome keyboard, an awesome controller. I'll let you kind of let everybody know what's up with it and how it integrates with Analog Lab today, and that's kind of what we'll be covering. So thank you so much, John.
Cool, yeah. So happy to join, jump in and talk about the keyboard. A huge thing in terms of me getting the keyboard myself, and the benefit of having it is really this layout up top that we have. More so kind of on my right side, that makes a huge difference to me. And so I'm going to go through really all of those different navigational tools real quick that we can use that a lot of other controllers might not, MIDI keyboards might not have available. So start off, like, let's say you get the keyboard, you want to just jump in and use it. First, I just want to make sure you've got these 3 buttons down near this knob that say Analog Lab, DAW, and User. And that's going to be crucial. At least when you start, you hit DAW, and you want to make sure you hold down DAW so that it's basically flashing, and that gives you the ability to choose your DAW, your audio workstation and what mapping it is. And that's just matters for these controls over here. These transport controls are all just going to function a little better if you have the correct DAW selected. So I just want to make that point. And yeah, a huge deal with this keyboard is how it works with Analog Labs and how you can really create a sound that's personalized quickly. So I'm going to screen share this really quick, and we'll pull up Analog Labs so we can kind of talk about it at the same time. All right. How's it look on your end, Ian? Is it
Looks
looking
good.
good?
Looks sharp. Yeah.
Nice. Who, me or the screen? No, I'm just kidding.
Well.
All right, so yeah, I want to jump into Analog Labs real quick. I've got a piano pulled up right now, but a huge benefit of getting Analog Labs, or I should say getting the keyboard, is Analog Labs comes with that keyboard. And that's not just maybe one synth, or like sometimes, you buy something, you get like a light version of recording software. This is like a full-on synth that actually gives you 30 different classic keyboard sounds all in that one unit that comes with the keyboard. It's a pretty big game changer compared to a lot of what other options you get with keyboards. So to sort of show how to find those different sounds, I want to show you how I would use this keyboard here to navigate it. So let's say I click here to click Analog Lab, so I know I'm controlling the Analog Lab software up here. And then I've got these two categories essentially. Or two buttons, which is category and preset. Category is going to be allow this knob to navigate in this. If you follow my mouse, this little filter by area on the left, you'll see when I turn this knob, it allows me to choose these different descriptors of the sound I'm looking for. So you can choose by those instruments, that number of instruments I was, discussing. We got types here, the roll, which I spend a lot of time in the types because, you can quickly choose, hey, I want a bass part, and then maybe throw one style on there, which is like more of an adjective, it's pop rock, or it's simple. It's something that's going to like take that role you're looking to play in the song and narrow it down to something more specific in terms of the timbre. So, for example, I'm going to just choose a piano sound. So let's see, types, we want keys, style, want it to be bright, or you know what? This is giving me synth sound. So what I really want is actual piano sound. So if I just roll up top and hit piano, now I can select it that way where I roll up top with the big wheel. 9 kind of faders. You can also you can quick select different instruments. So you'll see here, it actually says, it's probably hard to see on my screen, but it says piano here. So if I go like that, it's going to automatically pull up all of the pianos if you look at the analog labs. So I auto select that. And then when I hit preset, instead of when I do that, now the knob is rolling through the presets instead of the descriptors over here. So we got preset, and that sounds pretty nice. Let's see how it sounds. I mean, there's really a variety of options. I was really enjoying the Japanese Jazz Studio the other day. Which I really like. So basically I used that sound to start this beat off. So and let's say, just for the sake of discussing the piano part a little further and analog labs, you can actually go further into the sound settings of each synth by clicking on it. So I'm going to do that later, kind of when I discuss the beat more. But in terms of the layout, I want to actually go to a different instrument part. I'm going to pull up my pad. And the reason I want to pull this up is to talk a little bit more about using that selecting option, so using this layout up here. So let's say I selected pad, and I'm just going to restart from what we had going, and even though I had a pad sound up here, I'm just going to show you how I got to fascination essentially. So basically, if you look up here, I chose pad, and then I chose strings. That's kind of the timbre I wanted, and then I selected fascination from our little wheel, which gives us that nice sound. So let's say that I want to change something about that pad. You can click on it and really go into the hood of the synth, if you will. But what's easier for me as a person, I think that when you're creating a beat, you want that quick flow in terms of just like getting the sound right. You don't want to spend your whole time in an EQ box or in the parameters, just kind of stuck in adjustment land. You want to kind of get the part down and move on to the next idea. And so with that in mind, what Arturia, they've collaborated with the sound designers that create each sound to decide what it is that these knobs up on the keyboard are changing, as well as the faders. Now there's some that are constant, like this knob, this master one is pretty much always, it's going to be volume of the final volume output of that specific sound. But these other options here, they tend to vary every so often. A lot of times these are, the faders are going to be attacks and delays, and decay times, whereas your knobs up top, which are these knobs up here, are going to vary a lot. So this one is cut off, so maybe I want it. So if you want to kind of dial in your cutoff there, you've got that knob right there, which is makes a huge difference to the timbre as well as the resonance of that filter. And these are all performable too. So if maybe you did want to open up a track and you wanted to kind of old 80s film score kind of setup going, that's a great option there. But yeah, it's really you can get from one point to a whole entirely different point by changing all of these knobs. I mean, I hardly touched them and we got to something kind of wild. I don't know if I'm gonna use that one, but that's just an example. So yeah, that's these knobs up here. And let's see. Another interesting thing in terms of what comes with the keyboard is these little magnetic they basically are labelers. They're going to label, here, I'll hold it up. They label what each button does. So I have mine, they have one that says Logic, so I got that one popped on here, but they got one for pretty much most of the major DAWs. So you flip this one over, it says Pro Tools. I pretty much use this card only because those are my two DAWs that I use the most. But kind of a nice little thing in case you do want to, in case you're using these track controls over here. The track controls, if I close this, I'll show you what that does here. I got DAW selected, so I'm controlling on the DAW instead of Analog Labs. And now I can use this area gives me the ability now to choose my channels when I'm mixing, so you can automate your faders if you want to automate some volume or pan it. These knobs become pan pots when you do that. And once you've selected your track, let's say I select this piano, and I want to record, you can record and arm it by using little track controls over here, and then I can record if I want to. So yeah, that's a great option. And let's see. Now we've got the piano all arranged here. And I want to just kind of lay down that first piano part again. One moment. Oh no, lost my. Did we lose my screen here? Let's see.
Yep, it's got the
well,
the rainbow screen. The batteries go dead.
The battery's not dead. I think it just kind of
went to sleep.
Went to sleep or something. I thought I turned off that sleep mode. One sec. Well, if we got the screen, let's see.
You explained a lot about the keyboard already, so I mean.
Yeah, we've discussed the keyboard. We'll kind of move on for just a second here, okay. And so I'm gonna play that part real quick that we have going. Okay. Turn our metronome back on here. Metro. Kind of go here. Chord, enable, and boom. All right. Grab that all real quick and give it a friendly little.
Sounds great, man. You play real well.
Thanks, man. Yeah, little use of those jazzy ninth chords, a little bit. Let's see. And so another feature I wanted to talk about is, let's see. There's also a chord memory feature on the keyboard. Let me see. 1 second here. Okay, yeah, my camera is not going to do it for me, so what we're going to do is we're just going to, let's see, flip the, so, sorry about the technical difficulty. The
That's one way to
chord
do it.
memory
Okay.
and chords transpose function. Can you see that?
Yeah, kind of. We can't see what it says, but you can. Let me pull it up bigger. I can grow up the blow up the view. There we go. Okay, now we can see it. Yes.
So, I wanted to cover this because it's a pretty cool feature that comes with this keyboard, and it's the chord memory and the chord transpose buttons. And they're two kind of interesting options for someone looking to perform full chords pretty quickly. So the difference is chord memory lets you assign a different chord to each individual pad, excuse me.
Hey John, can you unmute yourself? I just actually muted your other screen and it muted your vocal. If you can hear me.
Okay.
There we
You
go.
hear me
Okay,
now?
thank you. Yeah.
All right,
I'm
yeah.
messing with the stuff on the back end. Okay,
Whoops.
go ahead.
All right, so that these pads, what chord memory allows you to do is you assign a specific chord shape to that specific pad or a specific chord to that pad. So you can, by doing that, you kind of hold down chord and you hold down the pad that you want it to assign it to at the same time. Like if I hold this down and I play a chord at the same time, it's going to assign that chord. And so, and then I can, you see that I'm playing different chords. And if you look at the display here, let's see, it tells you what chord you had assigned there. So this has a D3, an F sharp 3, and an A3, whereas the one next to it is a C sharp 3, an E3, and an A3. All right, so that's chord memory. Chord transpose, which I'm bringing it back over here. Look at my finger, that's chord transpose feature. We engage that. Similar that you can assign chords to this pad, but instead of performing it from the pad, it's essentially saving the chord shapes instead. It's saving the intervals related to whatever root note you play. So if I hit this, it's going to play a C sharp, an E3, and an A, but it's just going to play those. Here, let me just do it real quick. All right, here. This is a better example. So this chord I played on this first pad, you'll see as a G, a B, a D, and a G. It's just a major chord. And so that's if I play a G, but it's just saving the intervals. So if I play the note above it, it's still going to play that same chord, but it's going to play from an A flat or a G sharp. See how it says it there? Both are great options. I just kind of wanted to cover because I think that they're a unique feature that a lot of different keyboards don't have. So yeah, that's the chord function, and I use it. It's a great option for pads here. So I could do that right here like this, for example. So I've got basically the chord structure of what I'm playing is a F, G, and then an occasional, mostly just an F minor 9 and a G9. So I have a bunch of different F minor 9 shapes assigned in chord memory to 4 chords, and then there's some G's. So if I put those there, all I have to do is use the pad to perform it. So yeah, we'll just leave it here, and here it is. Oops. So, my apologies there. You got to actually have the right chords assigned to it. It looks like it had something from an old session. So if I just do here, I assign some chords to it. G's. All right, so it'll be like this. Something like that. It's, 1 sec. Let me retry it. So yeah, a great option for like playing full chord shapes from a pad. You know, can basically find a variety of different ways to use that. I could also see it being used for like bell sounds. But yeah, I would say that's a huge feature. So I wanted to cover that chord feature. Yeah. Aside from that, we've got. I really want to hit on how you can get such a variety of sounds for a whole beat, and so that. I've really only used the Arturia products outside of my drum machine. Everything is all Arturia. So just want to show that here real quick. So another thing I want to point out with Analog Labs is when you're actually using it to touch on these different parameters or get a little deeper into the synth. So for example, this keyboard, I feel right now when I'm listening to it, I kind of feel like I don't love the EQ, and I could EQ it after, but you can also jump in. See how I clicked this little like pencil looking. That at synth and keyboard, you can go and change all of the different parameters here. So what I'm going to look at is the master here. Looks like it's got some low end kind of hyped up that I might not want. Let's see. Yeah, so right there I'm just doing some mud management, you know, taking out some muddy frequencies, but you can do all kinds of stuff. Move the you know, mic setup here to close mics instead. Oops, here's the piano. There it is. Compared to this. This one sounds wide. This one sounds a little bit more personal. That close mic sounds like, you know, I guess it depends on the lyrical content at that point. It's like, do you want it to feel like they're close to you? But yeah, so that's a variety of the features with the keyboard and Analog Labs. You can do the same thing with the pads. Another cool feature of the pads is if you want to, you can actually do two parts. You know, you can split the keyboard into two parts. So basically, let's see. To do so, you're going to want to select part 2 on the keyboard, which is over by the knobs. And then you can actually add a second keyboard. So string like, so we'll kind of keep it in the same vein. See if maybe, let's try cloud movement. And so you'll see over here on my right that cloud movement has popped up as the second option over here. You'll also see down by these keys, the different colors represent the layout of where that part is on the keyboard, because you can actually split that keyboard and go like that and see how now the top is just cloud movement and the bottom is just fascination, or just turn that back off, have them both in the same thing, sound something like this. Let's see. So this cloud movement sounds pretty interesting. So once you add these, you have the ability to mix them as well. So right now we got part 1 selected, part 2. When you and also clicking in here, you can go mixer and choose the relative levels here. So I'm just going to pull this one out to hear what cloud movement is by itself. Whoa. All right. So I think it's cool. I take back my decision to add it, and we're going to remove it. And we're going to add something a little bit more usable. Maybe those stereo strings for that second one, which is going to be good old Mellotron sound. Throw us back to the Beatles a bit. And then pull out the mixer. Got modern and sort of vintagey sounds together. So right now I have an auto filter on the actual track, but I can remove that, and let's say I want choose master so that both of them are getting that effect. Go stereo pan, sine, maybe something medium paste, and let's try it almost completely wet. Now it's kind of going to our left and right a little bit, gives us a little bit more interesting chords to, you know, interesting kind of like soundscape to work with, and then, you know, you can always take advantage of that more so here. And let's see. So yeah, we got the pad. The layering feature to me is huge, because what I used to always do in Logic is when I would come up here, I would add an instrument, and I would choose multi-timbral, 4 parts, and then choose like make a bunch of synths all apply to that, which is cool, but you take up a lot of space on Logic in itself, and so you can get a pretty pretty dynamic pad sound and just one channel by using that feature. And yeah, that's a lot of the main functions. Ian, is there anything else you want me to touch on that we maybe didn't talk about, or?
Pull up Analog Lab real quick. Let me just see
Yeah.
if I can elaborate on some things. What I'd like to say again is that I like to say this is a mirror image of what's on the board. So unlike, a lot of when you go for a combination software and hardware piece, they have a pretty good connection as far as what you're seeing, what you're looking at, and what you're looking at on the screen versus what the hardware is. It's a mirror image from the 9 knobs and the 9 faders that connect to what's on the screen itself.
Yeah, these 9
So
knobs here.
yeah, and that's amazing for me because then you don't have to go searching for what knob is moving what thing on the screen. If you're using Analog Lab, which has over 8,000 sounds, um, the Analog Lab itself comes with the keyboard itself. It won't allow you to go into the synth itself. To go in the actual synth, it'll allow you to browse through the presets and edit these 9 knobs and these 9 faders all in the same. But yeah, and then you also have the 2 sounds that you selected. You've got the red and the green. You can see that you can select each one and change the parameters of each one, right? Or you go into the live mixer mode, and you can mix the 2 together, and there's different parts: part A, part B, the master resonance, the master cutoff for both pieces at the same time. So you could do things, faster and combined. So it's really a ton of power, but super easy at the same time. Not to mention, go ahead and select on just a touch real quick on the concert mode. Select concert real quick. The concert mode on the left there. Bam. Yep, right there. And hit let's see, go to stage. Do you see that on the top right there? Oh yeah, there you go. Go to stage. Oh yeah, I think you have to select a sound, but you drag a sound in there.
Okay, so we got blue strings, put it in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I see. And so then, okay,
That's something we hadn't gone over yet, but yeah, go ahead and select OK there. And then I just
yeah,
want
and
to
then
show
that gives you the ability to preset your live set essentially. So
yeah, so you have a list of sounds that you can control with your keyboard to go through all your favorite sounds. You can create a folder of your favorite sounds. Go to stage. Go on stage. Yeah.
Now it's gonna pull up blue strings for me.
Yeah. And it shows this, so you can see in a much bigger view. So you can actually go on stage and control things in a wider view, and just control things much faster than just having the intricate little details that are in a smaller screen. So you can see it faster and and easier. Another feature that I love personally, which is probably the most minuscule little feature as some may think, but it's super powerful for me, is if you exit out of this window, there's a shuffle mode, okay? And what always annoyed me in some of the synths was that you would have to start from the top to the bottom, and it would always be the same consecutive series of presets. So sometimes you start from the bottom, or to have different variations, to be surprised by what was coming next. And I'd have to go to the bottom of the list, or go to the middle of the list, or go to the top of the list, and you'd always have like this series that you'd have to know that it would just bother me that they're in the same list. So if you hit the little shuffle mode, your 8,000 sounds all gets mixed up, right? And then you can kind of go through all the different sounds and be surprised every single time out of 8,000 sounds. So
yeah, that's a good point in terms of just trying to find that inspiration. It's nice to have a sound that you're not expecting be the first one that kind of hits the keys.
Yeah, even if you're in your categories on the left, like the types, like if you're in basses or organs, or if you're in certain instruments, you can even do something interesting. Like if you select instruments per se, and you click on one, right? Like any of them.
Jupiter 8. I'm a sucker for the Jupiter 8, so we're choosing that.
Okay. Bam. And then watch this. If you hit another secret tip is if you hit Command on your laptop or your computer, and you click on another one, another synth, another synth like Mellotron or something. Yeah. Then now you have your preset list is now dedicated to only Jupe and Mellotron. and then you can mix those up. You can select different variations in which you want to mix your sounds up, so you have control over what you're dissecting, what you're extracting from. So that's how I use Analog Lab, and I use it for everything. I mean, of course, with V Collection, you get the whole collection of 24 instruments, and you can go straight to the OBXA or go straight to, pigments or whatnot. But this allows you to actually have the whole browser. We call it the power browser. It allows you to kind of go into every single sound from one place. So yeah, that's kind of my 2 cents.
Yeah.
Any questions we got? So you can layer the sounds in concert mode. Yes, you can layer the sounds in concert mode as well.
Yeah, so if you did that, you'd probably want to make the sound yourself. So in that case, like let's say I really like this sound, we want to just hit save over here, save as. I'll say fascination, and look, it tells you everyone who makes it. I don't want to jump, step on Lawrence's toes, so I always do dash John, and then I'm like, okay, I know that's the one that I made,
Right.
and then concert mode, we take that same one, and we just drag it over. So where did he go? Let's see. Search. Fascination. Or let's see. Is it gonna? So if I save it, I'm sorry, I don't use the concert mode as much. If I,
Sure.
how do I save it? Save a layered one? Do we just kind of pull it over?
Yeah, you should be able to drag it in. Now that you have, actually, go to Blue Strings real quick. Go to your selected preset right there on the left.
Over here.
Yeah. Your preset. Yeah. Click on that. Or go to stage. Yeah, it's already 2 sounds, so it's already selected. If you go to stage, you'll have
Versus if
the
we
dual
added
sounds
another
in
song
one.
and we did. Song 2.
Song 2. So yeah, that's basically the gist of it. And once again, I'm going to give everybody anybody who would like to request. There's a link in the chat. A 3-month NFR of Analog Lab to try it out for yourself and enjoy all the sounds of the thousands of sounds that it comes with, and presets to you to play around with for some time and get a handle on what the synth is doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So any more questions, guys? Just we'll wait a little bit to see if anybody's got some more questions.
Yeah. Let me know if there's any questions I can help with.
Of course. Of course. Yeah, I guess that's it. I mean, if anybody has any more questions, I will wait around for a couple more minutes. But yeah, I mean, Analog Lab has been a super powerful synth, or not even synth. I mean, it's a browser full of pianos and organs and Rhodes.
Yeah, it's definitely a really strong starting point in terms of just having a bunch of instruments at your fingertip upon just like picking up one unit or one plugin or excuse me, VST.
Yeah. You can also go to styles and create, look at sounds from different types of styles. Like, as what does it say? It says aggressive or funky or hard or simple or soft, or these different kind of characteristics that enable you to choose a sound from a certain variety. Yeah, and we got Jose asking how to use macros. Learned a few tricks with the instruments.
How to use the macros up here in terms of the knobs or
Yeah.
Well, all of the knobs are going to be they're assigned to the keyboard already. So when it comes to just performing with them, if you engage the record function, you're going to be able to also perform and also, automate that in real time.
Right. There's also the user mode as well. The user mode you can select and
yes,
and create your own parameters or your own map.
And selecting the user mode, there's a user button on the next to DAW, which is right under that central knob, and then that allows you to change between your different user presets. Like I have ones for different DAWs. Also, switching your user presets is going to change what the assigned chords are in the chord memory function.
Cool. Cool. Well, I think that pretty much answers it. Let's see here. Is there anything else that I could explain? Of course, when you get your banks at the bottom, if you get any of our preset packs, you can go ahead and access them there when you actually download. There's a whole bunch of preset packs you can purchase from, I think, $20 to $50 on Arturia's website. And that pretty much covers everything for the most part. I mean, that we can kind of get into now with this, and we'll have more as we go along. John's done another OBXA sound designing class tutorial in the past. I think back in September, was it, John?
Yeah. Touched on OBXA. Also did hit on the
effects
mixing suite.
Yes.
As well.
Yes. Cool.
Yeah, feel free, anyone, if you guys want to leave some comments or message either of us if you have any questions. We're always happy to either help you troubleshoot or answer any questions.
Cool. Yeah, go ahead and message in the chat, and we'll go ahead and answer those as well. Cool. Well, thank you so much, everybody. John, thank you so much. Let me go ahead and stop go ahead and stop screen sharing, so we could say sayonara.
See you guys. Thanks for tuning in, and hit me up if you guys have any questions.
Cool. Thanks, everyone. Take care.